Well, we've reached the end of the year, and not exactly the end of Potion Craft, it's still in early access, but I thought I'd go ahead and take this opportunity to recap the lore and notable characters that we've come across along the way. So, basically, Potion Craft is the running of a potion shop in a kind of vaguely defined fantasy world. You're in a town, you've kind of taken possession of the house of a wizard, and you're making potions. And in order to make potions, you need ingredients, and some of those ingredients are going to come from merchants. This guy is kind of a generic merchant type. He shows up fairly infrequently. I only had him turn up, I think, just 3 times during my playthrough as it stands right now. It was roughly once every week, once every several days. He just kind of carries a variety of goods, random every time. He's not confined to a singular niche the way that other general merchants are. He doesn't really drop any lore or have a notable character. You can't ask him questions or converse with him the way you can with some of the other merchants. He just kind of turns up, sells you stuff, maybe buys some stuff, and leaves again. That's pretty much all you get out of this one, unfortunately. I don't know if there's going to be more to him in the future. I don't know if future updates are going to add things, but that's where he stands right now, at least. Him aside, the other merchants are a little more interesting. You've got the herbalist. She turns up every couple of days. Most of them turn up every couple of days. And you get to converse with her a little bit. You get to find out a bit about her. She really just sells herbs that she gathers from the woods. Very specifically, just plant matter, flowers, roots, leaves, things like that, vines. And you're not her only customer. She goes to various people in town and is pretty much just a general supplier for them. That being said, she's kind of sweet. She likes to sing to herself in the woods, but only if nobody's listening. Listen to birds, just have a nice, peaceful existence, wandering from place to place, picking the plants that she knows are there and could be of value or use to people. Her goods change every time because she has to visit different patches and let things grow back and everything. She also drops us a little bit of lore about our garden having an enchanted tree, probably grown by the wizard that used to own our house. Not much detail further on that character, if it even is a character. But that's pretty much our sole source of knowledge about that, I guess, aspect of the world building and backstory of this place that we've taken over. A generic bag of holdings exist. The herbalist has one. And the last interaction we have with her is asking if she might sing for us. Maybe someday. That day has not come yet. I think we're waiting on an update, a expansion of the early access to get that. At least that's my assumption at this point. Next guy is the mushroom guy. He's an old man who lives in a hut in the woods and kind of gathers mushrooms. I get the impression he cultivates some of them at the very least. Like the herbalist, he just sells them around town, whoever needs them. Apparently mushrooms are very general use in this world. To be fair, they're also very magical in this world. Not in the way they are in ours. Apparently he's been doing this since he was a child, I presume 50 years. How old can he be? 60? 70 perhaps? He's very spry for his age, either way. He likes to relax, he likes to just hang out in the woods, drink mushroom tea apparently, which I find a little iffy flavor-wise. I can't imagine it's good, but to each their own, I suppose. And also, this is a magic world with, different plants. Maybe it's really tasty. He's writing a memoir. And apparently he has had a fairly storied life, as he drops a little tidbit about it in a later interaction. The squirrels probably love him. They'll do anything for free food. Aside from that, he's just kind of an interesting character. I genuinely enjoy when Mushroom Guy turns up. Let's see, the bit of the memoir he drops is apparently he traveled a lot, or he used to travel a lot in his youth, and ended up in like a frozen, cold northern area, fell into a crevice and had to eat a bunch of snow mushrooms to survive. Yep, he also grows mushrooms on his hat in order to fend off wild beasts, keep himself safe wandering around out there. You know, he's not necessarily a fighter. But yeah, that's generally what we have about him. Nothing more has come out since. The next merchant is another alchemist from another town. He's not a competitor per se, as he says there. He doesn't own an alchemy shop. He just runs a laboratory. He experiments. He buys and sells on enchanted papers used to make, like, potion recipe books that can be erased, written over. Bit of world lore to justify the game mechanic of being able to keep your recipes and also replace them without necessarily being like, oh, where's all this paper coming from? How are we, are we just tearing it out and throwing it away and writing new stuff? No, it just erases and overwrites. Much like the game itself. He's creating things with an alchemy machine. I think he's developing the alchemy machine, honestly. And a lot of those experimentations become available to us as we progress the game, unlock further things. Void salts are a thing that become available once you've kind of completed a certain threshold with working with the alchemy machine. The various salts and things have different properties as you carry on and unlock them. And then lastly, there is the dwarf. He kind of keeps things short. He keeps things very concise. I'm not sure if that's just meant to be his nature, or if it's meant to imply a world where maybe he speaks a different language, and this language that you are using to communicate, common tongue, let's just call it, is maybe a second or even third language or something of his, and so he keeps things very simple in order to make communication easy to deal with. I'm not entirely sure which direction it is, but he sells crystals and they're useful. Then there's some notable NPCs that aren't merchants so much as just customers. This one is the witch or sorceress. She comes across as shady, but when you help her, your reputation goes up or it stays the same. Helping her is not implied to be shady, even if she's using, say, human blood, even if you don't know what her magical specialty is aside from it's not making mushrooms grow. She implies that there are other witches, other sorceresses in the area, that some of them might be liable to flinging curses around, and they might be kind of scary, as she says. She's pretty cool. She hasn't shown up past this point or so, so I think that there's probably going to be more story coming from her, but it's just not in the game yet. Again, as of end of 2021. Then there's the fisherman, who he solely exists to catch weird fish. And, presumably, he says he sells them at a pretty good price, further down the line, but really, as far as our interaction with him goes, he's just buying all sorts of potions in order to enhance his bait, in order to enhance his physical strength, because he is pulling up absolute monstrous fish somewhere. There has to be a deep lake or river in the area that he is pulling up things that can, like, haul fishermen right into the water. He catches fish that have, like, weird elemental abilities, like breathing fire. And so he just kind of occasionally needs our help with getting specialized equipment, specialized abilities for this fish or that. And he is he seems to be the big game hunter of fishermen in this world. He's always just looking for a challenge, looking for something that's going to be difficult to catch, but worth it. He's not interested in just sitting around and catching everyday fish. And then there's little bits of lore that were dropped occasionally, such as a little bit more information on the existence of witches in this world. A witch once lived in a house, but it seems to be haunted after she died or something. They have to burn it down with magical fire. Another witch is, like, flying over fields and scaring people and casting spells that ruin crops. Interestingly, that guard said he wanted to scold her, not stop her. I don't know what's up with them. Then there's just little bits dropped by the bartender, the brewer. The south is very hot, but the northern area, and we seem to be more in the north, seems to be very cold, or can get cold at the very least. And then he also drops the tidbit that there is a local brothel in the area run by a Madame Twerks, and they knew exactly what they were doing. This game is ridiculous sometimes. That's about all we get from him, though. But he occasionally turns up, just kind of needing some help with stuff. And then there's healers. Healers exist. They seem to use magic. They often come looking for mana potions to replenish those stores. But there's an interesting bit with a particular guard at a point where he shows up going, hey, I need help with this, and you ask him, okay, how did you get by without potions before? Because there used to be a wizard here, but it wasn't an alchemist. You're new. And he said that they used to have a healer, but he disappeared and no one has seen him since. I don't know if this means that, like, the guard unit used to have a healer, because there's other healers in the area. They come by looking for potions. So that's a bit of a mystery as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know. I think that this is a cameo referring to Harry Potter in a very oblique way. Strange scar on the forehead, invisibility cloak. It's vague and distant, but it might be there. And then there's this guy. Let's call him Greg. He is absolutely not called something that's he's not a witcher. No, that's not a thing. He's a hunter of interesting monsters who occasionally comes by needing potions. Has a fairly distinct design, but you see he's only got one sword. He's not a witcher. He might become a merchant, as is implied here. When you ask if he has ingredients for sale, he's like, not really, but in the future I might, bring by some monster parts that could be useful for potions. I think that's a hint at a potential future update, potential future content. For right now, though, he is just a cameo. So, that's pretty much where Potion Craft stands. The world is somewhat vaguely defined in the fantasy area. Just kind of waiting to find out more, to get to know more of these characters with future updates as it moves through and even out of early access. I don't know exactly when the next update is going to be. I haven't heard anything on that front as of right now, but we've gotten some more devlogs talking about more NPCs, whether notable or just like repeating randomly generated ones. So the game is going to expand, it's going to grow, there's going to be more to do and more to find out, and we're gonna see what comes up. We're gonna see the state of this world. Kind of hope that we find out more about maybe that wizard who used to own this house. Maybe if that disappearing healer is anything important. Maybe if witches are gonna be a bigger deal. Looking forward to it either way. So, until whatever the next update or playthrough might bring, hope you have a happy new year and starts out great, goes well. So yeah, until then, thank you and have a good one.